Welcome to Whispered MBA, our ASMR channel dedicated to discovering new skills, new knowledge, and new career paths in the age of AI and beyond. Our sleepy session today is our first session in the MBA Journey series. Our topic for this evening is titled Understanding the MBA, a degree, a platform, a pathway. Let's begin our soothing discussion. Our sleepy session this evening explores a question that many professionals ask at some point in their careers. What exactly is an MBA? At first glance, the answer appears simple. An MBA is a Master of Business Administration. Yet beneath that simple definition lies a degree that is frequently misunderstood. Some people view it as a credential, others view it as a career accelerator. Some see it as a pathway into leadership, others see it as a network, still others see it as an expensive educational investment whose value depends entirely on how it is used. In many ways, all of these perspectives contain some truth. Tonight we will explore what the MBA is, what it is not, how it differs from other business degrees, how employers view it, and why it continues to occupy a unique place in the professional landscape. Let us begin with the foundation. An MBA is a graduate-level degree designed to develop general management and leadership capability. Unlike highly specialized degrees that focus deeply on a single discipline, the MBA is intentionally broad. Its purpose is to help individuals understand how organizations function as interconnected systems. A student entering an MBA program will typically encounter a collection of core business disciplines: accounting, finance, marketing, operations, organizational behavior, strategy, economics, analytics, leadership, business ethics, governance. At first, these subjects may appear unrelated. Accounting focuses on financial information, marketing focuses on customers, operations focuses on processes, finance focuses on investment and resource allocation, leadership focuses on people, strategy focuses on long-term direction. Yet over time, students begin to discover an important pattern. Organizations do not operate through isolated functions. They operate through interactions between functions. A pricing decision affects sales. Sales affect revenue. Revenue affects investment capacity. Investment affects operations. Operations affect customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction affects future revenue. Everything influences something else. This interconnected perspective represents one of the defining characteristics of MBA education. The goal is not simply to teach individual business subjects. The goal is to teach students how those subjects interact. A useful way to think about the MBA is to imagine standing on a balcony overlooking an entire organization. From that vantage point, you are no longer focused exclusively on accounting, technology, marketing, operations, or finance. Instead, you begin seeing how decisions in one area ripple throughout the organization. This broader perspective becomes increasingly important as careers progress. Early career professionals design products, execute projects. As responsibilities expand, however, success begins to depend on something different: the ability to make decisions across functions, the ability to allocate resources, the ability to lead people, the ability to manage ambiguity, the ability to balance competing priorities. These capabilities sit at the heart of the MBA experience. This leads to one of the most common misconceptions about the degree. Many people assume that an MBA guarantees career advancement. It does not. The MBA is not a guarantee. It is not a ticket that automatically produces promotions, leadership positions, or higher compensation. A more accurate description is that the MBA functions as an accelerator. Its impact depends upon multiple factors: the quality of the program, the effort of the student, prior professional experience, economic conditions, industry demand, career objectives, and perhaps most importantly, how effectively the individual applies what they learn. Consider two students who graduate from the same program. One actively builds relationships, participates in recruiting opportunities, develops leadership skills, and applies new knowledge effectively. The other remains largely disengaged from the broader experience. Both receive the same diploma, yet their outcomes may differ dramatically. This distinction reminds us that the degree itself is only part of the equation. How the degree is used matters just as much. Another misconception involves technical expertise. Some professionals wonder whether an MBA can replace deep technical knowledge. Generally speaking, it cannot. An MBA may complement expertise in software engineering. It may complement expertise in data science. It may complement expertise in accounting, healthcare, or finance. But it rarely replaces the need for domain mastery. Organizations still need specialists. They still need engineers who understand engineering, data scientists who understand modeling, accountants who understand accounting, healthcare professionals who understand healthcare. The MBA contributes something different. It helps professionals understand how those specialties connect to the broader organization. This distinction becomes increasingly important in modern business. As organizations become more complex, they require individuals who can move across boundaries, people who understand technology and business, people who understand operations and strategy, people who understand finance and leadership, people who can connect specialists rather than simply operate within a single specialty. In many respects, this connecting function represents one of the MBA's greatest strengths. The degree encourages students to think beyond individual silos. It encourages systems thinking, cross-functional collaboration, and organizational perspective. These capabilities become especially valuable during periods of change, and few periods have experienced more change than the one we are living through today. Artificial intelligence continues transforming industries. Automation continues reshaping workflows. Data continues influencing decisions. Organizations continue adapting. The professional understand the MBA. Many people evaluate MBA programs primarily by looking at course offerings. They compare accounting classes, finance electives, analytics concentrations, leadership seminars, and while these elements certainly matter, they represent only part of the story. A useful way to think about the MBA is as a career platform built upon three interacting components: skills, network, and brand and access. Each component contributes value in different ways, and different programs emphasize these components differently. Let us begin with skills. The skills component is the most visible part of the degree. Students learn business frameworks, financial analysis, strategy, leadership, decision-making, negotiation, organizational behavior, communication. These capabilities help individuals become more effective managers and leaders. They provide a common language for discussing business challenges. They offer frameworks for evaluating decisions, and they create greater confidence when operating in unfamiliar situations. For some students, these skills represent the primary reason for pursuing an MBA. They want structured learning. They want exposure to new ideas. They want to strengthen their ability to lead organizations. Yet skills alone rarely explain the full value of the degree. The second component is network. Throughout an MBA program, students spend significant time interacting with peers, alumni, faculty members, recruiters, and industry professionals. Over time, these relationships become part of a professional ecosystem. Some relationships create immediate opportunities. Others create opportunities years later. A former classmate may become a future colleague. A project teammate may become a business partner. An alumnus may become a mentor. A recruiter may become a hiring manager. The long-term value of these relationships can be difficult to measure. Yet many graduates describe the network as one of the most important outcomes of the experience. Not because every connection leads directly to opportunity, but because relationships expand visibility, perspective, and access. The third component is brand and access. Certain MBA programs possess strong relationships with employers. Certain schools maintain extensive alumni networks. Certain brands carry significant recognition within specific industries. This recognition creates access. Recruiters visit campus. Companies establish internship pipelines. Leadership development programs target specific schools. Industry events attract influential participants. In these situations, the MBA functions not only as an educational credential, but also as a signal of preparation, a signal of ambition, a signal of business fluency, a signal that an individual has invested substantial effort into professional development. This does not mean brand guarantees success, but it can influence which opportunities become visible, and visibility matters. Many career opportunities cannot be pursued if they are never encountered. Understanding these three components creates a useful framework for evaluating programs. Some students primarily need skills. Others primarily need network. business degrees. The distinction matters because many graduate programs appear similar on the surface, yet they are designed for very different audiences and outcomes. Let us begin with the Master in Management, often called the MIM. In many parts of Europe, and increasingly in the United States, the MIM has become a popular option for recent graduates. At first glance, the curriculum may resemble portions of an MBA. Students study finance, marketing, operations, management, strategy. The difference lies primarily in audience and purpose. MBA programs are generally designed for professionals with meaningful work experience, frequently 3 to 8 years, though the range varies. MIM programs are typically designed for individuals at the beginning of their careers. The MBA focuses heavily on leadership through experience. Students bring professional contexts into classroom discussions. They compare challenges they have already encountered. They draw upon real organizational situations. The MIM focuses more heavily on launching early career talent into business roles. The distinction is subtle but important. One develops managers and future leaders. The other helps prepare individuals for entry into the business world. Neither is inherently better. They simply serve different purposes. Now consider specialized master's degrees, programs such as Master of Science in Finance, Master of Science in Business Analytics, Master of Science in Marketing, Master of Science in Supply Chain Management, and many others. These programs emphasize depth. They focus intensely on a specific functional area. A finance master's may explore valuation, modelling, investments, and capital markets in far greater detail than an MBA. An analytics master's may provide significantly more quantitative and technical training. A marketing master's may delve deeply into consumer behaviour and digital strategy. The MBA takes a different approach. It prioritizes breadth. It seeks to develop professionals who understand multiple functions, rather than mastering only one. This distinction reflects a broader question. Do you wish to become a specialist, or do you wish to become a general manager who can integrate specialists? Both paths create value. They simply create different forms of value. The comparison becomes even clearer when examining accounting and taxation programs. A Master of Accounting, often called MACC or MSA, or a Master of Taxation, often called an MST. These programs are deeply tied to technical expertise. They support professional credentialing pathways, licensure requirements, advanced accounting knowledge, tax law, tax planning, regulatory frameworks. The MBA serves a different purpose. It is not designed primarily to create technical accounting experts. It is designed to help leaders understand how accounting information supports managerial decisions. Once again, breadth rather than depth becomes the defining characteristic. As careers advance further, another variation appears. The Executive MBA, or EMBA. Technically speaking, the EMBA is still is typically less focus on internships, less focus on structured recruiting, and greater focus on leadership growth within existing careers. This distinction reflects different professional objectives. The traditional MBA often supports career transition. The EMBA often supports career expansion. Both create value, but they create value in different ways. There are also degrees designed for public service pathways, programs such as the Master of Public Administration or the Master of Public Policy. These degrees may include economics, budgeting, management, analytics, and governance. Yet their primary focus differs from the MBA. They prepare leaders for public institutions, government organisations, non-profit organisations, and policy environments. The MBA focuses primarily on business leadership. The MBA and MPP focus more heavily on public sector leadership and policy design. Again, the distinction is not about superiority, it is about alignment. The most effective degree is the one aligned with the future you hope to create. As professionals evaluate these options, they often discover that no degree exists in isolation. Every degree reflects a different philosophy, a different audience, a different career pathway, and a different definition of value. Understanding those differences makes choosing the right path far easier. As we continue our exploration of the MBA, let us move inside the curriculum itself. When prospective students review MBA programs, they often begin by examining course lists. Accounting, finance, marketing, operations, strategy, leadership, analytics. At first glance, these subjects may appear similar to what one might find in an undergraduate business degree, yet the MBA approaches these disciplines differently. The emphasis is not simply on learning concepts. The emphasis is on applying concepts to managerial decision-making. An MBA student is rarely asked to memorize information for its own sake. Instead, students are asked to evaluate trade-offs, allocate resources, analyze uncertainty, and make decisions when no perfect answer exists. This distinction reflects the reality of leadership itself. Managers rarely encounter situations where every variable is known. Executives rarely possess complete information. Organizations rarely operate under conditions of certainty. The MBA attempts to prepare students for precisely these environments. Let us consider the major functional areas that form the foundation of most programs. Accounting is often the starting point. For many students, accounting initially appears intimidating, yet accounting is fundamentally the language of business. It provides a framework for understanding organizational performance. Students learn to read financial statements, interpret income statements, analyze balance sheets, evaluate cash flows. They study managerial accounting, cost behavior, budgeting, and unit economics. The goal is not necessarily to turn managers into accountants. The goal is to help leaders understand what financial information reveals about organizational health. comprises the study of how organizations allocate resources under uncertainty. Every organization faces constraints, limited capital, limited time, limited talent. Finance provides tools for making informed choices about those constraints. Marketing introduces another perspective. Many people initially associate marketing with advertising, yet marketing is fundamentally about understanding customers and creating value. Students examine segmentation, targeting, positioning, pricing, distribution channels, customer lifetime value, brand management, and consumer behavior. The deeper lesson involves understanding markets, why customers choose certain products, how organizations differentiate themselves, and how value is communicated effectively. Operations introduces yet another dimension. If marketing focuses on creating demand, operations focuses on delivering value consistently and efficiently. Students study process design, capacity planning, quality management, supply chain systems, lean principles, and operational trade-offs. They begin to appreciate a reality that many organizations discover repeatedly. A brilliant strategy means little if execution is weak. Operations connect strategy to results. Strategy itself occupies a central position within most MBA programs. Students examine competitive advantage, industry analysis, market positioning, growth strategies, diversification, innovation, and long-term value creation. Strategy asks a deceptively simple question: how should an organization compete? Answering that question requires understanding customers, competitors, capabilities, resources, and future uncertainty. Few decisions carry greater importance. Leadership and organizational behavior focus on perhaps the most complex element of any organization: people. Students explore motivation, influence, team dynamics, organizational culture, negotiation, conflict resolution, communication, feedback, and change management. Technology continues advancing, processes continue evolving, markets continue shifting, yet organizations remain fundamentally human systems. Understanding human behavior therefore remains essential for effective leadership. Analytics has become increasingly important in modern MBA programs. Students study hypothesis testing, regression analysis, decision modeling, experimentation, data visualization, and business intelligence. The objective is not necessarily to transform every student into a data scientist. Rather, it is to help leaders make informed decisions using evidence. In an era increasingly shaped by data, this capability becomes extraordinarily valuable. Yet perhaps the most important aspect of the MBA curriculum is not any individual subject. It is the integration of those subjects. Strong programs rarely teach business disciplines in isolation. Instead, students encounter cases, simulations, projects, and discussions that require multiple perspectives simultaneously. Imagine a company considering a new product business problems rarely fit neatly into departmental boundaries. This is one reason case-based learning has become so prominent in MBA education. Cases place students into ambiguous situations. A company faces declining growth. A competitor enters the market. A merger encounters resistance. A new technology creates disruption. Students analyze the situation, debate alternatives, and recommend actions. Often there is no universally correct answer. The objective is not perfection. The objective is judgment. This brings us to one of the most important outcomes of an MBA experience: leadership development. Interestingly, leadership development often occurs outside formal leadership courses. It emerges through experience, group projects, team discussions, student organizations, recruiting activities, presentations, and interpersonal challenges. Students learn to influence without formal authority, to collaborate with people who think differently, to communicate clearly under pressure, to manage competing priorities, to navigate disagreement professionally. These experiences may not always appear on a transcript, yet they often become some of the most valuable lessons. A useful observation about leadership is that leadership rarely develops through theory alone. It develops through practice. People become better leaders by leading, better communicators by communicating, better decision makers by making decisions. The MBA creates numerous opportunities for this type of practice. This is also why cohort quality matters so much. Students learn from faculty, but they also learn from each other. A military officer may share lessons about leadership under pressure. A consultant may share frameworks for problem solving. An engineer may provide technical perspective. A healthcare professional may offer insights into regulation and operations. An entrepreneur may introduce entirely different ways of thinking. The classroom becomes richer because of the diversity of experience. In many respects, students become part of each other's education. As we continue, another important element of the MBA experience emerges: experiential learning. Because ultimately, organizations hire people not only for what they know, but for what they can do. And that is where internships, consulting projects, startup accelerators, and real-world business experiences begin to play an increasingly important role. As we continue our discussion, let us move beyond the classroom and into one of the most influential aspects of the MBA experience: experiential learning. Many prospective students spend considerable time evaluating course catalogues. They compare electives, faculty credentials, academic concentrations, and while these factors matter, employers often care about something equally important: application. Can a student translate knowledge into action? Can they solve real business problems? Can they operate effectively in organizational environments? Experiential learning exists to answer these questions. Throughout many MBA programs, students encounter opportunities to work on real-world challenges. Some participate in consulting projects sponsored by organizations. Others Others work with startups. Some join entrepreneurship accelerators. Others participate in venture capital practicums, innovation labs, or industry-sponsored initiatives. These experiences create something that lectures alone cannot provide. Context. A framework learned in class becomes more meaningful when applied to a real company. A strategy concept becomes more tangible when actual stakeholders are involved. A financial analysis becomes more relevant when decisions affect real outcomes. Experiential learning bridges the gap between understanding and execution. And execution is where organizations ultimately create value. For many students, internships become the most visible example of experiential learning. This is particularly true in traditional 2-year full-time MBA programs. The summer internship between the first and second year often serves as a critical career inflection point. Consulting firms recruit through internships. Investment banks recruit through internships. Corporate leadership development programs recruit through internships. Technology companies often recruit through internships. The internship becomes more than temporary employment. It becomes an extended interview, a chance for both employer and student to evaluate fit, a chance to test a potential career path, a chance to demonstrate capability before a full-time offer is considered. This explains why internships play such a central role for career switchers. A professional moving from engineering into consulting may use an internship to demonstrate business problem-solving skills. A military officer transitioning into corporate leadership may use an internship to gain industry-specific experience. A healthcare professional moving into strategy may use an internship to build a new professional narrative. The internship creates a bridge between past experience and future aspirations. This brings us to another important consideration. Not all MBA programs are structured the same way, and program design can significantly influence outcomes. The most recognizable model is the 2-year full-time MBA. This format is often associated with traditional business schools and serves a wide variety of career objectives. Students typically leave full-time employment, immerse themselves completely in the academic environment, participate extensively in recruiting activities, and complete a summer internship. For individuals pursuing major career transitions, this structure offers significant advantages. The internship creates a pathway into a new industry or function. The immersive environment facilitates networking. Career services often maintain extensive relationships with employers. Recruiting becomes highly structured. For these reasons, the 2-year MBA frequently attracts career switchers. Individuals moving from one industry to another, one function to another, or one professional identity to another. Yet these benefits come with trade-offs. The most obvious is opportunity cost. Students often leave full-time salaries behind, relocate geographically, and commit significant time The one-year format compresses the educational experience into a shorter timeline. Students complete coursework more quickly, return to the workforce sooner, and incur less opportunity cost. For candidates who already possess relevant experience and are not seeking dramatic career transitions, this can be an attractive option. The primary trade-off involves recruiting. Because the timeline is shorter, internship opportunities may be limited or absent depending on the program. For students relying heavily on internship recruiting to execute a career pivot, this can be significant. For students pursuing career acceleration rather than career reinvention, it may be less important. The distinction highlights an important principle. The best MBA format depends on the objective. A degree is not selected in isolation. It is selected in service of a career strategy. Now consider the part-time MBA. Part-time programs allow professionals to continue working while pursuing graduate education. Classes may occur during evenings, weekends, or flexible schedules. Students maintain income, continue developing professionally, and often apply classroom concepts directly within their organizations. For many professionals, this combination is highly attractive. Learning occurs in parallel with practice. Leadership concepts can be applied immediately. Business frameworks can influence current projects. Promotions may occur during the program itself. Part-time programs often attract career accelerators, professionals seeking broader leadership capability, greater business fluency, or preparation for future advancement. The trade-off involves immersion. Students typically have less time available for networking, student activities, and recruiting. The experience remains valuable, but the nature of the value differs. The focus shifts from transformation through separation to development through integration. The executive MBA occupies another distinct position. As discussed earlier, EMBA students tend to possess substantial professional experience. Many already lead teams, some lead departments, others hold executive responsibilities. The classroom therefore becomes a forum for peer learning at a senior level. Discussions often focus on enterprise-wide challenges, strategic decisions, organizational transformation, leadership complexity, executive influence. Participants bring extensive real-world experience into every conversation. The result is a learning environment fundamentally different from traditional MBA programs. The objective is rarely career entry. It is more often leadership expansion. Many EMBA students seek greater organizational scope, preparation for executive roles, broader strategic perspective, or stronger senior level networks. Because most continue working throughout the program, internship recruiting typically plays a minimal role. Again, the structure aligns with the audience. The design reflects the objective. Another format has grown substantially in recent years. The online MBA technology has made graduate education accessible to students regardless of geography. Professionals can participate from different cities, different countries, different provides flexibility, but flexibility also requires ownership. Finally, there are specialised MBAs, programs focused on healthcare, technology, sustainability, energy, or other industries. These programs preserve the MBA core while tailoring electives, projects, and recruiting opportunities towards specific domains. For candidates already committed to a particular industry, specialised programs can provide strong alignment. The trade-off involves optionality. A highly specialised focus may create advantages within one domain, while offering less flexibility if interests change later. This observation leads to an important realization. There is no universally best MBA program. There is no universally best format. There is only alignment. Alignment between goals and design. Alignment between aspirations and opportunities. Alignment between where someone is today and where they hope to go tomorrow. Understanding this alignment requires another important question. Why are people pursuing an MBA in the first place? The answer varies significantly, and those differences help explain why MBA outcomes can look so different from one graduate to another. As we reach the final portion of our discussion, let us consider perhaps the most important question of all. Who is the MBA actually for? The answer may seem obvious. Business professionals, managers, future leaders. Yet when we examine MBA cohorts more closely, several distinct groups tend to emerge. Each group enters the experience with different objectives, and those objectives often shape the value they ultimately receive. The first group consists of career switchers. These are professionals seeking meaningful change. Sometimes the change involves function. An engineer wants to move into product management. An operations professional wants to move into consulting. A financial analyst wants to transition into strategy. In other cases, the change involves industry. A military officer enters technology. A healthcare professional moves into consumer products. A non-profit leader enters the corporate sector. Career switchers often benefit most from structured recruiting pipelines, internships, alumni networks, career coaching, and employer relationships. For them, the MBA serves as a bridge between past experience and future opportunity. The second group consists of career accelerators. These professionals generally remain within the same industry or function. Their objective is not dramatic change. Their objective is increased scope, greater responsibility, faster progression, stronger leadership capability. A manager seeks promotion to director. A director prepares for executive leadership. An individual contributor develops broader business fluency. For these students, leadership development often becomes particularly valuable. Executive communication, cross-functional collaboration, strategic thinking, organizational influence. The MBA helps expand their ability to operate at high investors, access to startup ecosystems, access to mentors, access to experimentation. For these students, the classroom may be only one part of the experience. The surrounding ecosystem often matters equally. The fourth group includes family business leaders and aspiring general managers. These individuals may eventually oversee entire organizations. For them, the MBA provides broad managerial perspective, finance, operations, governance, strategy, leadership. Rather than specializing in a single discipline, they learn how multiple disciplines interact. This systems level perspective becomes increasingly important when managing entire enterprises. Understanding which audience you belong to can dramatically improve decision making, because different programs serve different audiences more effectively. A program optimized for career switching may not be the ideal choice for an experienced executive. A program optimized for executive leadership may not be the ideal choice for someone seeking an industry pivot. Alignment remains the central theme. This brings us naturally to another important perspective, the employer's perspective. How do organizations actually view the MBA? The answer varies by industry, company, and role, yet several common patterns emerge. Across many industries, the MBA often signals business fluency. Employers assume graduates can read financial statements, understand organizational trade-offs, participate in strategic discussions, and communicate effectively in business environments. The MBA also frequently signals professional polish, presentation skills, structured thinking, executive communication, stakeholder management. The degree suggests exposure to these capabilities. Another common signal involves ambition and career intent. Pursuing graduate education requires significant investment, time, effort, resources. Organizations often interpret that investment as evidence of motivation and long-term planning. At some employers, the MBA also functions as a selectivity signal, particularly when specific schools maintain strong reputations. Fair or unfair, some organizations use educational background as a screening mechanism. This reality exists throughout many labor markets. Yet it is equally important to understand what the MBA does not automatically signal. It does not guarantee technical expertise. It does not guarantee industry knowledge. It does not guarantee performance. And it does not guarantee leadership effectiveness. The degree provides potential. Performance determines outcomes. Industry differences make this distinction even clearer. Consulting firms have historically viewed the MBA as a major hiring pathway. Many maintain structured recruiting programs specifically designed for MBA graduates. Investment banks similarly recruit heavily from MBA programs for associate-level positions. Corporate leadership development programs frequently target MBA talent as well. These organizations often operate as pipeline employers. The MBA is deeply integrated into their maintain robust MBA recruiting programs, particularly for product management, business operations, strategy, and leadership roles. Others place greater emphasis on demonstrated capability and prior experience. Startups frequently adopt an even more experience-oriented perspective. Execution matters. Results matter. Relevant expertise matters. The MBA may help, but it is rarely sufficient by itself. Healthcare, consumer products, financial services, and many other industries fall somewhere between these extremes. The degree often provides advantages, but those advantages are strongest when combined with relevant experience and demonstrated performance. Understanding these patterns helps prospective students evaluate return on investment more realistically, because return on investment extends beyond salary. Certainly, compensation matters. Many graduates evaluate salary increases, bonuses, promotion trajectories, and access to higher paying industries. These outcomes represent economic return, yet other forms of return exist as well. Career optionality, the ability to move across industries, the ability to pursue new functions, the ability to access opportunities that previously felt inaccessible. This flexibility can create value for decades. Skill development creates another layer of return. Leadership capability, negotiation, communication, decision-making, strategic thinking. These capabilities often continue generating value long after graduation. There is also a less tangible form of return. Confidence, professional identity, credibility. A stronger narrative about who you are and where you are going. For many graduates, these benefits become surprisingly meaningful, because careers are shaped not only by capability, but also by the confidence to apply capability effectively. As we conclude, it may be helpful to address several common misconceptions. The first is that all MBA programs are essentially the same. They are not. Outcomes vary significantly. Brand, recruiting relationships, career services, alumni engagement, cohort quality, geographic location, industry access, experiential learning opportunities all influence results. The second misconception is that the MBA is mainly about classes. Classes matter, but many graduates discover that internships, recruiting, leadership experiences, and professional relationships influence outcomes just as strongly, sometimes more strongly. The third misconception is that an MBA guarantees leadership positions. It does not. Organizations may place graduates on leadership tracks. They may provide opportunities, but performance remains essential. Leadership must still be demonstrated. The final misconception is perhaps the most important, that success requires an MBA. It does not. Many exceptional leaders never pursue one. Many entrepreneurs never pursue one. Many executives never pursue one. The MBA is a tool, a powerful tool in the right context, an unnecessary tool in other contexts. Its value depends entirely upon alignment between the degree is this: the MBA provides three forms of value: skills, network, and brand, and access. The relative importance of each depends on the program and on the individual. When evaluating an MBA, the central question is not whether the degree is valuable. The central question is whether the value it creates is likely to exceed the costs required to obtain it. Tuition, time, opportunity cost, effort. For the right person at the right point in their career, the answer may be yes. For others, a different path may create greater value. The key is understanding the distinction and making the decision deliberately. Before we conclude our sleepy session, let us briefly review what we have learned. You should now be able to define the MBA as a graduate degree focused on general management and leadership rather than technical specialization. You should understand the distinction between the MBA and related degrees, such as the Master in Management, specialized master's programs, the Master of Accounting, the Master of Taxation, the Executive MBA, and public sector degrees such as the MPA and MPP. You should understand the major MBA formats, including full-time, part-time, executive MBA, online, and specialized programs. You should recognize the MBA's three primary sources of value: skills, network, and brand and access. And you should understand how employers often interpret the degree, what it commonly signals, and where its value varies across industries and organizations. Most importantly, you should understand that the MBA is not a destination. It is a platform that can help individuals expand their capabilities, broaden their opportunities, and prepare for larger responsibilities. How effectively that platform is used remains a decision each professional must make for themselves. I see you are ready to turn in for the evening. I wish you the most wonderful night and the sweetest of dreams. Until next time.